You know, as I've grown and as I've watched anime and manga over the years, I've slowly realized that everyone has their own favorite genre, be it shonen, seinen, horror, action, adventure, yada 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 yada. But as time goes on, I've realized that when it comes to anime and manga, there's a few genres that I just jam with that I don't really in other mediums. And that genre today, the topic of this video, has got to be what I'd call shitty action, big scale military battle mangas or animes. Series which involve countries on a gigantic scale or fighting on a gigantic scale, not in the terms of, say, like Dragon Ball or your Fairy Tale or something like that, where it's just giant, huge battles of giant lasers shooting off everywhere, blowing everything up. Nothing like that. I'm just talking, boots to the ground, men just killing the shit out of each other. I'm not sure why and what it started with, but I really jam with that. And I want to take a moment to share a few of those with you. I think it all started with back in the day with Kingdom. That is like the stereotypical big battle manga that I think a lot of people have started with. The art's beautiful, the story is breathtaking, the characters are fun and awesome. Heck, it's on the thumbnail because I mean it looks great. But would I call it a shitty battle anime? No, it's Kingdom. It's good. It's goaded. It doesn't really matter that much. What I'm talking about are the other three in the thumbnail. Those are the ones that just really just French kiss. I just enjoy, and I wanted to take a moment here to just tell you all of them. So first off, this season is Tensai Ouiji no Akaji Koka Seisei Jutsu. I probably butchered that pronunciation, but whatever. Basically, it's about this genius prince who's trying to just raise his nation out of debt. Now, obviously, I'm sure since it is the current season, a lot of you might have started this, but this is basically the idea of what sort of anime manga I'm looking into when it comes to this hidden genre. It is a series that involves big battles that are shittily animated, that involve politics, interesting characters, not amazing characters, but like good characters, in terms of this giant interwoven plot. Tensai Oiji seems to be a bit more comedy focused right now, which I kind of jam with. It's not as serious as the other two that are on the list, but if you have the time, I recommend checking it out. I've only watched 2 episodes of it, but so far it's kind of a jam. If you give it the time, I think it'd be a good idea to give it a watch. Now, the other two, though, on here are actual gems. Arslan Senki, which is the heroic legend of Arslan, was originally one of Japan's most popular novel series about the namesake prince exploring through and trying to take back his company back after, or I guess I'd say country, after a basically the Christian Scourge, or in the series it's called the Lustanians or whatever, try to take them over. It's a series that is steeped in history, and while it obviously everything has different names, is very obviously an allegory to the Crusades, and it's very cool. Arslan is a very interesting protagonist. He's very humane, not ridiculously overpowered, but at the same time, you want to see him succeed, you want to see him go through, and the battles are awesome. The manga, while not incredibly well drawn, is actually made by the same person who wrote Fullmetal Alchemist. So if any of you guys like that, which I'm sure you do, I think it'd be a good idea to go over there and check it out. It's an amazing series, highly recommend it. The anime is good. I give it a 10 out of 10. Just a great series all around. Now, the last one is Shokoku no Altair, or A Record of Battles Altair. This is the manga I wanted to make this video around. While the first few chapters of the manga are a bit rough, not gonna lie, in terms of the artwork and in terms of the characters, some of the character designs have just weird looking faces. I mean, just look at this motherfucker. And some of the others just have incredibly strange design work. Eventually, it gets wrong where it's like the author has like a stroke, and suddenly the art just becomes insanely good. Like, oh my god, just like look at some of this shit. Look at some of this shit. It's just so freaking breathtaking at times. The best way to describe it is, you know that game series Civilization, where it's like 80 different people trying to take over the world via different manner? that is basically what Altair is. You got your Venisons, you got your Roman empires, you got your Americans, you got, obviously Turkey. You got a lot of these interesting characters that are all playing together, and not all of them want to take over the world. Some of them just want to, be the top economic power, and that's really cool. And while out of all of these, I'd say this is probably like the one that you should check out the most. To be brutally honest, I honestly think this series is better than Kingdom. It's way shorter and has a lot less going on, but the politics involved and just the idea of a lot of the stuff it manages to do, I think is really cool. Obviously, Kingdom, again, probably has better art, has better characters, but just some of this is just so cool. I can still remember sitting in one of the chapters reading through it, trying to figure out the politics or whatever. And the fun part is, even though initially a lot of this stuff kind of flew over my head because it's very complicated and with all these interesting names thrown about, and none of them are the same as our world or whatever, you slowly realize that you're getting invested like it's a video game of Civ, and you're just trying to figure out how all these moving parts and this giant map just try to fix each other and make sure that everyone doesn't just die. And a lot of these, the reason why I like a lot of these series is that pretty much all of them require an amazing main character to be able to function. Like Shen from Kingdom, that's the best hot-headed character ever. Uh, from Arslan Senki, we got ourselves a nice little cinnamon roll over here who just constantly cares about everyone else, wants to take care of people, and it's very heartwarming. I guess a close example would be Tanjiro from Kimetsu no Yaiba, that sort of character who's really nice and really cool, and you just want to see him succeed. Again, Tensai Oiji, his main character, just kind of an asshole. Out of all of these series, it's probably the worst one, but it's a fun romp. It's like watching just like Beta Lelouch, like, hey, mom, can we have Lelouch? And it's mom says, we have Lelouch. And then it's like Lelouch at home. That's what Tensai Oiji's main character is. He's Lelouch at home. But, it's still fun to watch and like incredibly, free form and all that. It's an interesting watch. And then Altair probably has like the most nuanced of the main characters I've seen so far. I've only read 43 chapters of Altair, but just the amount of effort that's put into this kid is insane. The kid's name is Mahmut or something. I'm certain I'm butchering the pronunciation, but basically he's just this, this general in basically what is Turkey, trying to ensure that everything doesn't go straight to hell. I don't want to say much because I want to avoid spoilers, but basically what I'm saying, I say is give him a chance. At first, might seem a little bit unlikable. He seems kind of childish, and he doesn't seem to be able to really do much. But you have to understand that at the first start of the series, he is very much a kid. He might have started out as a general at the beginning, but he becomes something much more throughout the series. I honestly recommend checking it out just solely because of him. He's incredibly interesting, incredibly fun to watch, and incredibly badass. All of these series have great action, quote unquote. Tensai Ouji, maybe not the best action so far, but has great like visuals and ways that make you think. I love all these series because they just have the politics, have the world building, have the lore, and fun main characters. Now, would all of these be 10 out of 10s? Maybe. Kingdom, definitely a 10 out of 10. Obviously, it's Kingdom. Arslan Senki, the anime, probably closer to like a 9. But like, I can't really rate the mangas of that or Altair because they aren't finished yet. I'm not where near caught up to be able to say if they're like perfect. But all of them, I'd say, are definitely worth checking out. If you're watching Attack on Titan right now, if you're watching Kimetsu no Yaiba, if you're a fan of good world building, if you're a fan of good series, if you're a fan of good action, I think you owe it to yourself to read these manga. They're all amazing. They're all really good in their own ways. And I think it's worth just taking a moment to take aside and just look at this underappreciated genre of big military action in the anime industry.